Hello, YouTube pipe community. Saldogpiper here with you again today, coming to you from the garage as usual. It's been a nice day today, partly cloudy. Got up to 60 something degrees, but the wind's kind of whipping, so it made it seem a little cooler out there. Wanted to tell another police story and just ramble a little bit, which I don't do a whole lot of. But this story starts out another pursuit, if you can believe that. Usually those are the most exciting, I guess you could say, from our day-to-day job. But once again, back in my early career, I was a young deputy sheriff. Sorry, housekeeping. Blue alligator print 7LE 622. Have some Orlick flake in there. I like it a lot. It's good. But anyway, I was a young deputy sheriff, and I had a reserve meet me at my house. We were good friends, and he was a reserve deputy, and he met me at the house that particular day, and we were getting ready to head to the squad room for roll call, and a call came out for a burglary in progress a couple miles away from my house. Wasn't too far. So we decided we would head that way because we were the closest unit in the area. Everybody else was tied up and a lot further away. One thing about being a deputy in a big county is sometimes you're back up and other deputies are scarce or not around, unfortunately, because we had a big area to cover. So we head that way and get there, and unfortunately, by the time we got there, they were gone. They were no longer there, the people that was burglarizing the house. Well, the house belonged to, at the time, a Huntsville police officer. It was his house, and he was not home. So the burglars had taken quite a bit of his stuff, took some of his police equipment, his wife's jewelry, some electronics, different things. And so we began to take the police report. Well, we were there about probably 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes doing the report, looking over everything. And one of the neighbors, we were standing out front at this point, one of the neighbors that had witnessed this looked down the street and said, "Hey, that's the car right there that was here earlier breaking into the house." So me and the reserve deputy jumped in the patrol car, turned around to go pull them over, and the pursuit began. So we started pursuing them through the county, wound up being about 45 minute to an hour chase, all through the counties, county roads, through a field, spun out in the field, but he was able to keep going. And I say he, it was a female driver, it turns out. So after this 45 minute to an hour chase, by this time we have some more deputies in the chase. The deputy behind me, for whatever reason, decided he wanted to be the lead car in the pursuit. Not sure exactly why he wanted to do that. So he slingshots around me, gets in front of me, almost causes me to have a wreck. And we continue to pursue. And just a few minutes later, his transmission blows out. So now I've got transmission fluid all on my car windshield. It's hard to see. I'm doing my windshield wipers and fluid to try to get it off. It's smearing everywhere. So now I'm driving at a high rate of speed, trying to look through my windshield. And now the bad guy, I become lead again. The bad guy starts throwing the stuff he had stolen from the police officer's house out the windows. And now my car is getting pelted with jewelry, with police equipment, with all kinds of stuff, electronics. He's just tossing it out the window. So we get up to a 90-degree turn in the road, and this particular female was not, did not know where she was at. She was out of her element. And luckily, the reserve deputy knew where we were at, and he told me to slow down a little bit, that she was never going to make that curve at that speed. And he was right. She straightened that curve out, wound up crashing into a car. There was a house there. Luckily, the car that she hit prevented her from going into the house. So the passenger, I tell the reserve deputy to grab the driver. The passenger bails out on foot, and now I'm in a foot chase. Granted, I was about 21 years old then, and was a lot faster and quicker and could run, but he had a little bit of a leap on me. So we run, and he jumps a fence, barbed wire fence, and luckily I saw the gate was open right to the left of where he jumped, so I ran through the gate. Didn't have to jump that barbed wire fence, thank goodness. And we're running through this pasture, and there's a wood line, woods, about half a mile away from us. And like I said, he had a pretty good head start on me, and I'm running in full gear, which is not an easy job with a vest and duty belt and all the stuff on. And it's hot, unfortunately. It was during the summer. And he makes to that wood line, and as I'm chasing, I'm in the field still, this citizen comes riding up beside me on a dirt bike. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to jump on this dirt bike and go after him?" Well, I've never ridden a bike before in my life, a motorcycle or a dirt bike. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to chase him on foot because I don't know how to ride a dirt bike. So I get in the wood line, and we're still running. He runs a little ways, stops. He's wore out. I run a little way, stop. I'm wore out. This continues on into about another probably half mile into the wood line. Well, I'm slowly catching up to him because I'm pushing myself, and I get fairly close. I get within, I don't know, 30 yards of him, and I see him, but my brain doesn't register what he's doing. He's reaching in his waistband and pulling out 2 guns from the waistband that he had stole from the police officer's house. And luckily, he didn't raise them towards me. He threw them to the ground. So finally, I do get caught up to him. I used pepper spray. It's called OC on him. And at this point, it kind of, it blinds him, and he can't breathe, and he's down on the ground. And I'm so tired. I am wore out. I can't even handcuff him. I'm so wore out. So I just hold him at gunpoint until, backup arrives. So finally, a few minutes later, backup finally gets to me, and they go to try to cuff him, and well, he starts resisting arrest. I don't know why. He can't. He's tired. He's wore out. Why he still wants to fight, I have no idea. So wound up having to tussle with him a little bit, finally get him in cuffs and everything else. Start walking him out, and get back out to the field, and my brain kicks in. It kicks in, me remembering, hey, he threw something down while I was chasing him. Well, I didn't know initially what he had thrown down until I went back. I went back into the woods again and retraced our steps and found where he threw that stuff down, and it was 2 guns. And initially, my brain didn't register it when I was initially chasing him that he had guns, and he threw them down, which could have gone real bad for me or him or both of us. It was a kind of sinking feeling knowing that you could have potentially had a shootout or been shot or whatever. So it was a little scary. So another citizen had driven a truck out in the field by this point, was waiting at the wood line, and luckily he had a pickup truck, and we put the bad guy in the back of the pickup truck, and we sat on the tailgate, and rode back through that pasture back to our patrol cars, and where the girl had wrecked out. Turns out it was a 16-year-old girl that lived next door to the police officer. She had met this guy online from California. He had flown all the way to California to meet this girl and started staying with her and dating her. And he had a criminal record already, and he decided he knew that police officer wasn't home. He was going to go steal and break in to their house and steal that officer's equipment and whatever else he could find. Well, while we're at the scene, the officer who owns the house rolls up on the scene. Somebody brings him out there, and needless to say, he was hot. He was really hot. We had to restrain him because I think he would have killed that guy for breaking into his house. So we wound up taking him to jail, impounding the car. He got charged with burglary, fleeing and elude, resisting arrest, gun charges. And of all things, he wanted to complain on us because we were too rough on him when we were arresting him. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So, needless to say, it was very exciting, very tense. Your adrenaline's going for so long, 45 minutes to an hour. Once it dumps, you can barely walk. You're so tired. And especially, I calculated out, I think overall we ran about 1.5 miles, which is a pretty good long ways in full duty gear. And when that adrenaline dump wore off on me later on, I was just give out. I could barely stand up. And that was the beginning of the shift. We hadn't even started our shift yet, so we had the whole shift to go. So luckily that didn't have any more excitement that day. I don't know, that just wouldn't have gone good at all. But anyway, it's been a pretty good weekend. I'm the on-call detective this weekend. Knock on wood, I've not been called out yet. Usually when you're on call for the weekend, most of your calls come in the middle of the night, 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And I hate those phone calls. I hate having to get out of bed, especially when it's below freezing at night and go out to do an investigation. It is no fun at all. But so far, so good. I have called all the way till Monday morning at 8 a.m. And then a busy week ahead of me. I work 2 jobs. I work my full-time duty as a detective, and then afterwards I work a part-time job. Some people call it moonlighting, basically, where I provide security for a company. I patrol their parking lots and as a police officer, and make sure the building's secure and everybody's safe there. Preventing breaking and enterings of vehicles and active shooters and things like that. So I work 2 jobs most of the time, and my next week is what I call my long week, because I've got to work out there every day but one day, I think, next week. So makes for some long days, but you probably know police officers don't make a whole lot of money, so you got to have extra income to provide for your family and all the sports your kids are involved in, and vacations and different things. So that helps supplement that so they can play ball and run track and do different things. But yeah, it's been pretty nice so far. I'm just when you're on call for the weekend, you really just want your weekend to be over with and get back to work, because it's not really like having a weekend off, because you've got to work during the weekend and get up at all hours or be called out at any time, and so you're always waiting on that phone call to come in, and you have to go out. It's just the waiting, I guess, for the phone call. So then you're kind of stuck at the house all day just waiting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. kid had a track meet today. He did pretty good doing the track meet, and so proud of him. And then lastly, though, one I want to talk about is kind of perturbing is we've gotten away from a person's word being their bond. Used to, if you told somebody something, that your word was your bond and you did it. But society has gotten away from that. It's a shame that it's that way. I wish it wasn't, but I strive to. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. That's the way I was raised. Um, that's your bond. You've given somebody a promise or a handshake, and you fulfill that. But anyway, just a little bit of a rant. Well, I hope y'all have a good rest of your weekend, and remember, Jesus loved you. He died on the cross for your sins, and He is there for you if you want to be saved. Reach out to me if you need some words of encouragement. I've been praying for Piper, Jonathan, Piper X1X. He's going through a hard time. A few of our other peoples are going through a hard time. I just want to say prayers for them. If you need a prayer for you, leave me a comment, and I'll definitely do it because there's power in prayer. All right. Well, 16 minutes, a little long, but I hope y'all have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.